Hi, this is Ace from Skunk Anansie. Listen to my very stupid and funny interview with Nika Boon's Stars.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Hej, interesują Cię gwiazdy? Nie wstydź się, bo mnie tak. Dlatego chciałam Cię zaprosić za kulisy życia ciekawych ludzi, świata muzyki i srebrnego ekranu. Pytasz kiedy? W każdą środę o 21:00 w Polskim Radiu Londyn w programie Gwiazdy Niki. Gwiazdy Niki!
Witajcie, cześć wszystkim w Gwiazdach Niki. Specjalny gość from SkunkAnansie, Ace. And now I'm gonna say it in English. Hi there, this is Nika Stars and this is Ace from SkunkAnansie. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, well, wow. You've done so much within the music and the music industry, but let's start from the beginning. I want to go back to the start. Like literally, what was the first music that kind of moved you on, that you thought, oh, this is something I can do?
Oh, that's quite easy, isn't it? It's like the pivotal point of any kind of kid, is what band made you turn to do music. For me, it's Motorhead. So when I was a kid, when I was 12, my mum said I was allowed to go to a show. I was old enough to go to a show. And before then, I just listened to chart music, really, and some of my brother's records. And my brother bought me a ticket for Motorhead for my birthday. So we went and saw the Ace of Spades tour, and that next day I was like, that is what I'm going to do.
And what is that why the Ace is your nickname?
No, not at all. It's from my hometown, so it's a long story. That's our old name.
Okay, yeah. Tell me the story. I want to know.
The story is basically in my hometown when we were kids. If someone was really good, they could say it's Ace.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I first moved to London, I suppose about 30 years ago, and I was looking for a band, I went to an audition and they were taping it on the cassette, and. They said to me on the cassette, what did you think of our music? And I said, oh, I think it's Ace, right? But they forgot to ask me my name. And so I did the audition, and then they rang me up and they were like, yeah, you've got in the band, you're in the band. But they still didn't ask me my name. And so when I said, great, I'm going to join the band, they went and told everyone, we've got a new guitarist, his name is Ace. Right? And that's where it stuck. So it was before Skunk Anansie, before anything. And so I'd been around doing it for a few years. And, you know, I was everywhere I went, they, oh, you must be Ace, the new guitarist of this band, because they knew everyone. So by the time I met the guys and we formed Skunk, it was like I'd been called it forever, you know.
Yeah, so like that was your fame name, you know. That was you already made that name for yourself.
It works though, doesn't it? Because sometimes it's a bit, it's uncool or whatever, but people always know who you are when you ring up. You go, hi, it's Ace here, can I? They go, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Like, here's Bob. Bob who?
Yeah, Ace is definitely, you know, and it also implies that you are Ace.
Oh, thank you very much. You're very kind.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good, you know, that nickname could have helped you out even at the beginning, you know.
Well, you know what? It works
on top of the skills, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it works in the fact that, say, you're doing endorsements and things like that. It's quite a good name, isn't it, for that? So when you ring up people and you're talking to companies, you know, hi, it's Ace from Skunk, it sounds a little bit more rock and roll, doesn't it? You know.
Brand.
Yeah.
So that was any piece of music before that when you were like a little child? Is there any guilty pleasure that you have?
I was really into rock and roll. I think the first time
from the age of 5.
Yeah, so from when I was really young, I really liked stuff like Bill Haley and the Comets, and Little Richard, and Gene Vincent, and all those kind of things. Because that was like, you know, I was born in the 60s. So my mum and dad's era, well, they were really young. So like their era was the 50s. So I kind of grew up and they were playing 25 rock and roll greats. So that's the first kind of music I really liked. I loved pop music when I was a kid. You know, always listened to chart music. So that there was a lot of that around me. But it was always about songs. for me. I was never like one of these progressive, long piece, you know, deep, meaningful jazz epics or anything like that, or, you know, classical music, anything like that. It was about short songs and catchy tunes, and rock and roll was that was the thing, and the energy was there. So it's probably a logical progression to go from, you know, Elvis and Bill Haley to metal, heavy metal, Motorhead, people like that, because that was the heroes of those bands when they were young. Lemmy's favourite band, for instance, was like the Beatles and Little Richard.
So, yeah, it's all that, you know, anything from like outside Britain that you know, you sort of maybe later on that you liked.
Outside of British music, it would be American music,
Yeah.
see, a British and American rule it all, don't they? It's either, if it's Led Zeppelin, it's Soundgarden, and if it's Black Sabbath, it's like Pearl Jam and everything like that. So obviously American music is fantastic, you know, it's a massive influence on me. You know, growing up, I was very lucky to have that wave of British heavy metal, which was Judas Priest and Motorhead, Saxon and all this type of thing. But then obviously AC/DC, Australian, were really big, and then all the American bands that came a bit later, so Soundgarden, Rage Against the Machine, Tool, you know, Pearl Jam, that wave of grunge, when that came out, I was very early 20s. So it was a really good age for me. I was probably 12 or 13 when a new wave of British heavy metal came. Then the next wave was grunge. So I embraced both those eras. I thought they were really exciting, you know.
And you can hear that in your music, you know. But so tell me, so what's the story with, how did you, you know, end up in SkunkAnansie? Because that wasn't your first band, right?
No, but obviously I was in lots of bands before, and I was singing and I was playing lead and rhythm guitars and all these type of things, but they were never, they weren't successful. You know, and I moved to London because it was like, you know, especially in the very early 90s, you had to be in London. There was no scene anywhere outside of Britain and London. And I moved here to basically find the right people. So I joined a couple of bands and you know, we did all right. But then I started a club in London, and that's where I met Skin and Cass from the band. And then
You started a club?
Yeah.
Like a promoter? Or a
well, the whole thing, booker, promoter. I mean, we booked Oasis' first show in London, you know, Ocean Colour Scene, all these bands, Suede, all that stuff. So I was in the scene, and then I booked a band that Skin and Cass were in, and we made friends. I used to DJ as well in that club. I used to do everything. There were three of us, right? So we ran a club between us. So we used to do doors, lights, stage managing and DJing. That was what went on. We used to swap around. But my thing was DJing, and so that's where I really met Skin. And I was playing early white labels of Rage Against the Machine, Stone Temple Pilots and people like this before anybody had them. And she was really interested, and I said, oh, you got to listen to Tool, they're this new American band, and made her a tape, and typical organic friends in bands, you know. And then in the end we formed SkunkAnansie.
Yeah, so you were basically friends before that, and did this sort of like happen in an organic way, or did you start jamming one day? No,
we were just musicians. We used to. I used to let the guys in free in the club. I used to book them to play there as well, and we used to hang out on the DJ nights. And the club was quite relaxed, you know. So it was like. It was only three of us. It got really successful as well, which was really good. And I still know people from that era.
What's the name of the club?
It was called Splash Club. It's in King's Cross. And then it changed. I left. When Skunk got signed, I left the club organisation. I was like, I can't do the two at the same time. And then it went into a place called the Barfly. And the Barfly is quite a big chain now in Britain. So that was the beginnings of that club. But it was really good, and the connection was good. And you know, like Adele's manager and all these people, they all used to go down there. Steve Strange, the big promoter, before they were successful. They were all like us, all young people trying to make a name for themselves. You know, I had a great thing where I love Tool, right? Tool's an amazing band. And we played with Tool in Australia. And I was watching them on the side of the stage. And then when they finished, the bass player came up to me and said, all right, mate, how you doing? You used to let me in your club for free. How great is that? Do you know what I mean? So
small world.
Yeah, it is a small world. I was like, oh my God, yeah.
Well, so tell me, what's like the funniest story from the road?
Funniest story from the road? Oh my God, there's loads of them, because we're quite a fun
couple.
band. We are quite a fun band, SkunkAnansie. We're very serious in our message and our music, but obviously we have to balance that up with enjoying ourselves as well. So, I mean, there's loads of funny stuff, really. I mean, nothing too crazy. I mean, you know, obviously the drunken night where we've all kind of fallen over and broken things by accident and all that kind of stuff. I do remember a time once though where I went on stage and we'd had our washing done, right, just before or something, and someone had shrunk all my clothes. And I went on stage and I was kind of quite frustrated because everything was like a size too small, you know. And I was playing a gig and I fell over.
On purpose, probably.
Yeah, I fell over because my shoe came off, right? And so I got like frustrated. So I threw my shoes in the audience because I was like, I've had enough of this. And then I just got really frustrated. So in the end, I was just like, you know what? I hate these clothes. They are making me feel bad. So I took them off, threw them in the crowd, and I did the rest of the gig in my pants. Right, so that was quite an interesting one. But I was young then, so it was all right. You can do it in your pants when you're young. I wouldn't do that now.
No, but that's good. I'm sure the audience was pleased.
Probably not.
I read they were screaming. No, come on. You know, did you take it like one by one,
Yes.
sort of thing?
Yeah.
And did they scream each time you took part?
To be honest, the trousers were last. The trousers were the last song. I couldn't do a whole gig in my pants, just the last song. I remember walking off stage and seeing looking like, where's your clothes? Like this. I was like, oh, I was sick of them. They were all shrunk and I threw them away. So.
Wow. So, any sort of stories about maybe, you know, fans that are crazy fans?
No, actually, our
Or
fans...
maybe nice fans?
Well, you know, to be honest, our fans aren't... They're really energetic and excitable, but they're a really nice crowd, actually. So we don't really get any crazy fan stories, to be honest. But we do have a really good skunk army. There's a bunch of fans that follow us around in all the shows, and they have their own camper van, and they're like little tea parties outside, and then they meet us, and we invite them all backstage, and we, you know, treat them really nicely and get them free bar and all these kind of things, and do films with them. And then sometimes when we're making video, we made a video, we got our fans to come and be in the video, and in between, you know, the setup of the thing, we're all in the dressing room all playing songs and they were singing them. So our skunk is like a community, and it's a really nice community because it's really inclusive, isn't it? And it's really diverse. So we're all about doing the right thing, and I think our fans are like that. So we're quite happy to be surrounded by them. We don't mind bringing them backstage. We don't mind being out in the front with them as well. So we don't have those crazy people that do any stupid stuff around us, really.
So you hear that, you know, if you ever at the SkunkAnansie gig, you know, don't hesitate to maybe shout from the crowd.
I'm always meeting people all of the time. Yeah, I actually go out in the crowd and watch the other bands. So, which is fine, but the only thing is sometimes it's like when I want to watch the band, everybody just wants to talk about something, and I'm like, it's okay, but I just want to see the band a bit. I don't mind being here with you, you know, but I want to watch this band, like Living Colour or Cypress Hill or something. I'd keep moving around so that, you know, because we were headlining those shows, I keep moving around so people wouldn't spot me for too many selfies, you know, so I could actually watch the show.
So what's your disguise? I mean, like, you've
What's
got
my disguise?
do you have like glasses and
my disguise is nobody recognises me, right? Or the other one is, even when you're headlining a show and it's a big show, they don't expect to see you in the crowd, so they're not looking for you. So if I'm wearing, well, what am I wearing now? Green jacket, black shirt, whatever. I won't be wearing this on stage, so they won't expect to see me like this, standing in a crowd next to them, like watching the big stage. So I mean, I really enjoy going out in the crowd, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best disguise. Like, if you had a couple of big guys around you, like, everyone will like know it's you.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, so what was the best festival for you that you played? Like, that you that you remember fondly.
Well, I have to say, probably the best festival I've ever played was this year, and it was our biggest festival, and it was Polish Woodstock on Poland Rocks. It was kind of monumentally huge. I mean, we'd headlined Glastonbury before. I don't know what that is, 150, 250,000. And I was very nervous when I did that show. It was a long time ago. And throughout the summer, we did some big shows. So we were like playing with Bon Jovi. I don't know what that is, 50,000, 70,000, things like that. They were big shows. But when we did the Saturday night and we headlined Poland Rocks, That place has got like 700,000 people. It was like a new league of big show. You couldn't see the end of the crowd. And it was Skin's birthday. So it was really exciting. We're having a #1 on rock radio in Poland with a new single. So the whole thing come together as a really, like a celebration of 25 years of SkunkAnansie, success of a new single, Skin's birthday and the biggest show we ever did. Right, but I have to say, when I walked on stage, it did make my legs tremble. It was
Even you, right?
yeah, I was quite nervous on the first song. I was like, wow, oh my God, this is a lot of people.
Were you sort of afraid that they're gonna charge the stage? No.
I was afraid that my amp might break. If my amp breaks and my guitar doesn't come out, that would be a travesty. So I was, you know, but within the first few moments of the opening bars, everything was good, sound was good, and we were all set up, and we'd been on tour for ages, and the crew were really professional. So it was after that I was like, I'm just going to enjoy this, and the adrenaline of it was quite huge. It was like, wow.
You know, that's good to know that you still can get excited about performing at the festival, you know, like after so many years of doing it.
I mean, why wouldn't you? You know, like if you like eating food, right? If you go out for dinner and it's a really amazing dinner, you're always going to get excited about it. It doesn't matter whether you're 75, right, 100, or you're 50 or 40. Someone says, here's some amazing food, you're going to go, oh, fantastic. It's the same with a gig. If you're doing a really good gig in a good place, it doesn't matter how long you've been playing, it's still exciting, you know. And that's, I think, the vibe of the band and the energy of the band has never changed. And that's why, you know, it's exciting. Sometimes it's a bit nerve-wracking, you know, and other times you may be really tired, but the energy is there. That's what makes you enjoy it.
So, what was the year when you played the Glastonbury?
1999. So it's the last band.
Party like it's 1999.
Yeah. The last band of the millennium, you know. So that was Sunday night, and we headlined it, and that was a bit more nerve-wracking because obviously
that was the first time, like the biggest gig for you to the date.
Yeah, it was then. Yeah, I mean, to headline Glastonbury is a monumental achievement, isn't it? In any band's kind of career. So at that time, you know, we'd only been going a few years. It was quite scary, you know.
But it's like, you know, it's just basically that's when you know you made it as well. At least in UK, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. But you never feel like you've made it in the band, I don't think. Because as soon as you've done one big show, you have to kind of do something else that kind of tops it, I suppose. So you're always trying to make it more. Yeah, exactly. But you do have to enjoy the moment.
Yeah, so what, you know, is there anything else? What would you do if you wouldn't be a musician? Do you think anything outside of the music and club scene that you imagine yourself doing at all? If there was no music?
I think if I was not doing music, I'd be doing art. Because that was my big passion when I was younger. It was music and art. So I was always drawing. I did graphic design at college. I was a graphic designer for many years, doing art and making even album covers and record covers and things like that. And, you know, that was my big passion when I was younger. And now I get involved with art, with the kind of the T-shirt merchandising, but only in a graphic sense. I don't actually physically draw or anything. So I think that was my other big passion. So I love art shows. Like, for instance, the last big show I came to in here was the tattoo show. And it was, the art for that was incredible. And in my house, I've got pictures and paintings on the wall, and I collect really good prints. You know, I love graphic prints. Got a library full of art books, things like that. I'm not an aficionado. I couldn't tell you most artists. I just know what I like.
Art usually goes together with, like, you know, people that are, you know, musicians. They often can at least do some good photographs, at least if not draw. So that's very often the case. But there is another thing that you're doing between the gigs with SkunkAnansie. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm a director of creative industry development for a chain of music colleges. So I've actually been involved in music education for 25 years. All right, and I did an MA in it as well, and I have my own schools in Italy. So it's not anything new to me. But with a band, it's like when you have time off, when you're in a big band, you can't do gigs all of the time. You just don't have enough venues, right? Because you do one big show every now and then.
Yeah, you cannot make, those gigs too often because,
Exactly. So in between all of that, I basically, there's 3 campuses: Birmingham, London, Guildford, and I go across and I help to set up the partnerships, the endorsements, the education delivery, the sponsorships, the masterclasses, the ambassadors, the scholarships, anything that's industry, the real world industry out there. I bring it back in for the students who are doing their music degrees, and also take them out into the industry. So Tobacco Docs at the moment, I've got 500 students across this over the next few days visiting. I've also got 40 working here. We've got a room here with 12 acts playing every day. So the whole thing is involving musicians and music students in the real world and helping them set up a career, a sustainable career, as well as in getting employed as well. So it's all about progressing their careers in the right direction.
So, here in London, where is the academy based?
It's in London. It's in Clapham, right? And then we also, as a chain, we own Metropolis Studios as well, which is a really big recording complex. But there's also a really big one in Guildford. It's like 2,500 students basically, and they're great. It's amazing, actually, to be surrounded by creative young people all the time. It's such energy, such a buzz. It always makes me want to get up. It always makes me happy to be. I don't even think of it like, I do say it is work because I obviously have to spend a lot of time doing it, but I'm always happy and buzzed up by the students. The tutors are amazing. They're all in bands. They're all professional players, and just the kind of, it's like everything I don't do in the band I do here. So I go off and I play music and I write records, that's one thing. But then I come here and I network, I meet people, I set up things, and I set up really nice experiences for young people who want a long-lasting career in the music industry. You know what I mean? Not just a 10-minute thing.
So you say young people, so what's the age limit in your school?
There's no age limit, is there? Because you can always be a mature student, but the average age is 16 to about 21, that kind of age, a normal diploma to degree age. But we do have mature students, because the thing about music is we teach music business and electronic music production. So you can be, any age learning those skills. That's not like I'm going to be on the X Factor or anything like that. It's about, you could work in the BBC, you could work in a studio, you could manage a band, so you could be in your 30s or your 40s learning those skills. So we do the whole spectrum of the music.
Okay, so the courses are 3 years, or
it depends where you go.
Okay,
but it depends where you go. But we've kind of pioneered the accelerated degree, which is a degree in 2 years now. It means more study time in a shorter block. So that means that when you study, you can basically avoid 1 extra year of costs of fees and living accommodation and student loans. You can do it in 2, but you'll study longer. Most 3-year courses have lots of holidays, but this one is all squished into 2 years.
All right. So, and how long have you been doing that? How long did this project?
Well, the actual college, which is the Academy of Contemporary Music, which is called ACM, I've been involved with them for 25 years. I've been full-time doing what I'm doing for about 5, something like that. And Skunk goes on tour maybe, I don't know, every 2 years for about 2 or 3 months. And then we might write a record and record it, which might take 2 or 3 months every 2 or 3 years. So there is a lot of space. I mean, normal people, could easily do both jobs. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because, if you want to, you can use holidays or you can do whatever you want. But my thing is like when I'm out with Skunk, it's really good for making contacts and industry connections that then I can bring back into the college. But also SkunkAnansie has a scholarship. So we've got, they're actually all here. I saw them all here so far. And those young people get their fees paid for their whole course, which is up to like £30,000. So that's really cool.
basically those students are here, yeah?
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen them there. They're here,
Okay.
learning, walking around, having fun.
So yeah, I mean, so what's your biggest dream right now for the future?
Oh, obviously to be a millionaire. I think it's like everyone else. Like make loads of money and then never have to work again. I think that's no. My dream. I have a few things. I would like to. I'd like to learn Japanese. That's one of them. I'd like to be more aligned with the values of Buddhism, maybe, because I think it's a really nice way to live and conduct yourself in life. I think it's a really nice philosophy. I would like to make sure that my children have a nice stable life environment and a really good education. I would really like to see all of my students succeed in what they want to succeed in. Doesn't mean they're all going to be the next Ed Sheeran. It means that they're happy doing what they're doing and have sustainable careers within the music industry. You know what it is? I want to feel content in myself, and I want people around me to be happy and content and driven, successful, but like mentally healthy and happy with that as well. So for my building of an empire isn't about accumulating and making lots of money. Money's fantastic because money buys you space, and it gives you a chance to invest in things that are important to you. So if you need a really nice place to live because that's what makes you happy and it supports your family, money's great. I like that, right? If you want your kids to do a certain kind of education, you want them to go to college, you want to pay for that, money's fantastic like that. So I do enjoy that type of side of things. That's important to me. But the most important thing is everyone around me is on the right track, and they're kind of content within themselves and driven, I think.
Yeah, so that you need to have the passion, and hopefully that will never that never fizzle out, right?
That's right. I'm always thinking of different ways to focus energy. Before, when I was young, the focus of my energy was like just exploding all the time, like I'm full of this, I'm gonna ride, and all that lot. And now I channel it in a different way. I'm quite a calm person now, and because I'm so calm as a person, my that energy now is now focused into the career, I suppose, and the time that I spend, the hours I spend. I mean, I probably do 10 hours every day on this job, easily, right? But that's where my focus is now. The energy is channel that there. And then me personally, the contentment is like when I feel I want to slow down, I feel good about it,
Yeah, so, well, I mean, I kind of just had a little thought about. Do you think you're gonna I was thinking about death. Do you wanna the question about death, how do you wanna die? How do you wanna die? Do you wanna die on stage? Because I wanted to close it with the whole full life story.
I don't want to die on stage. I want to finish playing by the time I die. I want to go, that chapter's ended and now I'm kind of ready for this. It's like death is really an important thing to kind of not dwell on, but to understand that it's going to happen to you, right? So if you can understand that we all die, then maybe you won't worry about certain things so much because they may not be so important. Our lifespan is like a grain of sand on a beach, really, when you look at it, right? So mortality, you should think, well, it's going to come, right? And it's quicker than you think, right? So savor the moment, enjoy what you're doing, right? And kind of create good karma within your life, right? So my thing is I would like to, I'm going to die, everyone's going to die, but the way I'd like to die is I'd like to die contented in the fact of this person is safe, my children are happy, I achieved that, it did good for this, everything I did in my life was valid. And I don't want to have a regret for going, I should have done that, So no regrets, contentment, valid, and making sure the people around you are okay. And then you can go, okay, it's my time.
Maybe like a sort of techie, a little techie question for like a guitar fans out there. There's lots of guitarists that are interested in what you're playing? What are your sort of favorite gadgets?
I'm a big fan, right, of a really good tone in guitar, right? And like for all my favourite bands that really kind of did it for me, like Led Zeppelin and Rage Against the Machine and Tool and all that sort, they have their own unique sounds, right? So unique tone is really important, right? And that comes from a few different things. It's your choice of guitar and amp, and it's the way you play. Okay, it's in your fingers. At the end of the day, the tone is in your fingers. But I think it's very important to have a unique sound, even if it's slightly different than the standard Marshall or something like this. So I tend to try lots of different amps until it's something that really turns me on, right? And then I will go with the natural sound of the amp. That is the tone. After that, I will add effects pedals. I'll never go, I'm going to make this through the effects and there's my sound. I go, the amp sound has to be great first, then I'll add some really good pedals after that. And then after that, it's about experimentation. It's about colour, so you've got your kind of rhythms and you can bash out lots of different rhythms. But, but for me, it's about, that's really good. That's the foundation. That's the bed of the song. But then after, it's like the melodies. That when I get into those kind of parts, the harmonies and melody parts, I will start experimenting with sound, like effects pedals, modulation, delay, octavers, whammies, all those type of things. So it's colour and it's weight and it's simplicity. My theory of playing is simple things played well, right? I could sit there and do an 8-minute epic and shred, right, and play lots of guitar solos. It's not really my thing. I could do it, but it's not what I'm about. I like bands like AC/DC, right? It's so simple. Anybody could pick that up and play it, but not anybody can make it sound the way they sound. They play simple things very well. And I think that's a philosophy with me and Skunk. Anybody could play a Skunk song. They could learn it in 2 minutes. But can they make it sound like it feels on the record or where it feels live? And that's what I'm about. Simple things played well.
Your favorite guitar?
I'm always changing my favourite guitar because different guitars give me different inspiration. My favourite guitar at the moment is a PRS single cut gold top, which I had made. I had it made for my 50th birthday. And so it's all to my spec and, nice neck and all these special pickups and all this stuff. That's my favourite one at the moment. And also for me, it sounds very bluesy. So it's somewhere between, Kossoff, who's Free or Led Zeppelin, that kind of thing, right up to what Gary Moore was doing. So for me, it's that sound. But I do have another new guitar. I've got a Vernon Reid signature model, Vernon Reid from Living Colour, of PRS, which is a completely different thing, and I'm enjoying that because it's a nutty guitar. So that gives me inspiration. And the other one is just giving me a solid sound, I suppose. And then, I've got one on order from the custom shop. That'll become my favourite one soon when I get that. It's been a year. I've been waiting for that.
Okay, so it's very custom made. And also you threw it out there that you're 50.
Yeah.
Which is like, basically you don't look it. I would never say that. So so maybe just to finish with, I'm just gonna ask you 3 really quick questions with one answer, one word answer. So your favorite food?
Oh my God, Japanese food.
Yeah,
definitely Japanese food.
We want to learn Japanese.
And my favorite Japanese food is probably, oh my God, this is really hard.
I love Japanese food as well.
Yeah, probably tempura, I would say, because I'm English and we love fried food. But I really like fatty tuna and Kobe beef. Kobe beef is the best. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, there you go. Favorite food.
Okay, so favorite movie.
Favorite movie, old school movie. I really like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I think that's really fantastic, and The Shining, like Jack Nicholson stuff, really real kind of stuff. Favorite recent movie, I really like A Star Is Born. I really like that film. I thought it was good, and I like, this is because I was watching them on the plane the other day. I thought, the one with Olivia Colman, with she's the Queen. Whatever that is, it's the new one. She's a queen. She's Queen Anne, right? And that with Emma Stone. I can't remember what it's called now, but that's really fun. I really enjoyed that.
So you watch your movies on the plane over.
Yeah, I never see anything on TV. It's always on the plane. But I did watch about 6 on the plane the other day. I saw a great film called Mind the Gap, which is about a bunch of skateboarders. A kid had been making it on his Handycam from when they were about 12 until about 20-something. That's a fantastic film. It's like a coming-of-age kind of road movie in a way. And I like those kind of really real ones. But I have a great recommendation, which is a film called All This Mayhem. And it's about it's a documentary, because the documentary is actually my favourite films. It's a documentary about 2 skateboarders from Australia, I think, who became famous in the 80s or 90s. It's just an amazing film. It's a nuts car crash of a film.
Favorite song?
Oh, yeah, everyone goes this. Oh, my God. Well, let's say, what songs make me think of me, all right? If I play a song and I go, oh, that's so me. Whole Lot of Love, Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
Love that, because that came out at the right time for me. That was mind-blowing. I really like Black Sabbath. So I could say most Black Sabbath songs, but Sweet Leaf, I think that riff of Sweet Leaf from Black Sabbath is probably my favourite ever riff. And then, God, it's really hard. I really like Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie. That's a really fantastic song. That makes me go, oh, like this. God, there's loads of them, loads and loads of them. Yeah.
That was just favourites, yeah. The first thing that comes to your mind.
Yeah. You know what it's like? If you heard it, you go, oh my God, I love this song. So that's my favourites, yeah.
Okay, and cats or dogs?
Cats, really, because cats are more independent, right? You know, cats just kind of, but they've got no allegiance. They just scratch your face when they feel like it, right? It's like, oh, hello. Oh,
yeah.
I've been looking after you for 10 years. You still scratch my face. That's a cat, right? So, but I like cats because they just kind of come in. Hey, man, do you want to stroke me? Yeah, okay, thanks, bye, where's my food? You know, they're independent. Whereas dogs are a bit more kind of jump up and lick your face. I'm not really into that licking of the face stuff.
And also you don't have that much time to take care of the dog, you know, with all the, Skunk Anansie stuff and the academy, you know, much more high maintenance.
Yeah. You know, I'm not really a dog person, as the band will tell you. They're always complaining. I'm like,
why can't you?
They just jump all over me, you know.
Were you ever bitten?
No. I've never been bitten. I got chased once by like a mad dog when I was a kid. That's maybe what it is. Yeah.
You know, like there you go, diagnose that one for you quickly.
Chased me up a tree. Chased me up a tree when I was really young, like a big, Alsatian thing. It was like that was like quite harrowing, I suppose. That's probably why.
Did you actually climb up the tree?
Yeah. I was young. I was climbed up a tree. I was being naughty. Right, I was in this like old shop. It was like closed down shop. I was in there and I was playing and I was not supposed to be there, you know, all broken, old fridges and all this sort. And so I was in the shop and then this massive dog came in, like some rabid wild dog.
Because you were on his territory.
Yeah. And I jumped out the window of the shop and the dog was like, rah, and I just had to climb up the tree and sit up there until it left.
Good you survived, though.
Yeah, I don't think that's why I don't like dogs. I think it's because they lick your face. Don't lick my face. No licking the face.
Okay, so no licking the face for Ace. And
anybody. Dogs or anybody.
Whenever you see him, don't lick his face.
Don't lick my face.
All right, thank you so much for the conversation.